Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Stephanie Stevens Show. I am Stephanie Stevens, and I will be your host for the next 30 to 35 minutes here on the Stephanie Stevens Show. Today, we are talking about issues that concerns the LGBTQ pronoun community. There's a few letters that have changed within the LGBTQ pronoun community, and I want my guest today to explain that to us. This way, we have a clear understanding of what the LGBTQ and those two extra letters stand for. And today, I just want to say, I want to welcome this very special lady. She was around with me at the beginning.
Yep.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my show. She's all the way from Soy, and that's supporting our youth. And her name is Verlia Stevens. And hi, Verlia, how are you?
Good. And look at that. Look how the Stevens with the PH got together again. Yay!
There we go. Hello. Now, you know, I remember you with how we first started really interacting a lot through CKLM.
And so I had a radio show there, and you were doing your show, your continent, what was it,
Miss Toronto Continental.
Toronto Continental. And so, you know, you would come on, we'd go to promote the show, and to watch how it grew over the years, it was like phenomenal. So we know each other a long time.
Yeah, and you know, it's so weird. I say this all the time. No matter what we've been through in our community, we have stood the test of time.
Yes, we have.
And we stuck it out. And not only that, they will never forget we were there with them when they didn't have anything. And today, do they forget?
Yeah, well, I think, you know what's nice is that because I work with youth, that I actually am allowed to see the like the transformation, the group, the continuing of the work that we have to do, right? Like, so say, you know, we did all of this stuff, right? You know, in our time, and then I'm seeing the benefits of it, of now how young people are now taking it in a different direction, especially for 2020. So I don't feel a disconnect. I don't feel a disconnect. I just feel that this is the new journey with young people. And I do my best to let them know about us and what we have done. And quite frankly, what we're still doing. You're still doing things.
I am, you know, I say this all the time. I never stopped.
No.
I slowed down because that's what life is. It's,
right.
You 1 minute you're up here, next minute you hit a hiccup.
Yep.
Down here. Then you get back up and keep going.
Yeah.
Somebody taught me that, just to keep going and never give up.
Yeah.
Now, you work with the group Soy, right?
Well, I work in supporting our youth, which is a program out of Sherborne Health. So right now, I'm like the mentorship and the peer leadership coordinator. Yeah, I've been there for about, I think 5 years now, about that. In various capacities, I work with BQY, Black Queer Youth Group, and also, you know, facilitated like a group called Soy Heat, which is Human Rights Equity Access Team, and I facilitate one called Peer Lead, which is like supporting youth to support each other. So yeah, like you know, I'm still kicking it. They're keeping me young, you know.
Well, you know, it's a good thing that you are working with the youth. You know, it takes a lot of courage, a lot of patience to deal with young people.
Yeah.
Now, do you find it difficult? Why is it so difficult for young Black men, or just the young men today, to approach programs, to reach out? Why do you think it's so difficult?
Well, that's a good question. To be quite honest, I think in our programs, well, we're not meeting physically now, right? So we're doing things online, we can't meet. But I would say that the majority of folks that come are cis men, cis black men, not cis women. So that's another question as to what it is we are not doing to have like cis women and trans folks, trans and non-binary folks really come to our programs as well. And also too, I think younger people as well, they're not ascribing to, you know, how, you know, nowadays it's like, you know, you had a male or female, right? Right? They're not going by that binary, right? So, which is kind of beautiful, right? So, but I would say, if I had to say, like, you know, I'd say mostly, you know, cis men come, which is fascinating. I don't know if that will change, but yeah. So they're coming, I think, though. But just to answer a little bit more of your question, I think though that when it comes to like cis men, I think, you know, like, you know, that's how, and this is me getting political again, it's just like, I think that's how sexism plays out, right? Masculinity puts men in a little box, and they can't show emotion, they can't whatever, right? And so, you know, to ask for help, I think, really makes it hard for them to do, right? But at Soy, a lot of them come.
Okay. Now, what does how would you pronounce, how do you say the LGBT, what is it? My friend corrected me the other day because apparently there's some new letters in it and I didn't understand what he meant.
Well, what we have, like, well, at Sherborne Health, it's 2S LGBTQ, right? So that is like 2S, Two Spirit, and that's just specifically for the indigenous community, like that's the only time that one is used. And LGBTQ is like lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, queer, questioning, right? So that's what we use. I don't know what Y is, but I know that 2S LGBTQ is what we use. And I just think, I know, like in the Caribbean, they actually use LGBTQIA, right? Meaning like lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, intersex, and asexual, right? So it's just really making sure that people could see themselves reflected, right? Like, and I think it will always move and grow, but you know, yeah.
So now, do you find that, are you having any real success at making a difference with the young people that come to Soy?
Well, let me just put it this way. I think it's not a one-way relationship. I think I am learning a lot. I'm quite privileged to get paid while learning. And in turn, right? And then in turn, you know, they, you know, hearing my stories to see my experience, to see how that could fit in for them. So, yeah, I think when it comes to gender and sexuality, I think younger people have really taken it in a way where it's more inclusive than when we were in our 20s, right? Like, you know, I called myself like a lesbian, right? But I wasn't the best femme, right? Like I, wasn't, Miss Fat Girl, right? But also feeling left out in a way because I wasn't butch or stud either, right? And so, and always feeling like there was just something different, and so just even like how they talk about gender now makes me feel a part of this community in a way that I never have, right? I still identify as she, I identify she and her, whatever, but still I don't have to I have to look like this, or I have to talk like this, or I have to. So I think like we're learning from each other. And this is what I'm saying. I think, Stephanie, we're not, many of us who did so much in our time here in Toronto is not getting that opportunity to do that with young people. I don't know what it's like in the drag community. You could tell me, I don't know, but the younger ones and the older ones, how are they communicating? If that's good, I don't know.
Well, I have a young one on tomorrow talking about racism within the drag community. She's on tomorrow, talking about her experiences of going to what she calls the white bars.
Right,
but we were
right.
talking about that tomorrow. You'll have to check that out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where are you from?
So I am, from Trinidad and Tobago.
Okay.
And then moved here a long time ago.
Okay. Now, now, do you see? Now, I mean, because of course, you would have family still in Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes.
Now, do you see any change or growth within the LGBT two-spirited community in Trinidad?
Oh God, yes. Well, let me just first say that there has been, even since my time, like since coming out in the 90s, right? That there has been a vibrant queer community in Trinidad and Tobago and in the Caribbean. And so they have done things that, we don't get to hear about it. And so, yeah, I think Trinidad is really, I'm so proud of like the work that the activists are doing, but in particular, the trans feminine folks and the drag queens, again, at the forefront of not only like being violated, but also making change, And so, like
we have been there in the trenches. We've always been in the trenches.
Right.
Now, how do you see, now, do you get any real complaints at SOY from the Black youth or the real marginalized youth? Because I don't want to just say Black.
Right.
The marginalized ones, that how they fit in to the LGBT community at large?
Well, in our community here in Toronto, and I think it was like that, at least that was my experience. It's like, anti-Black racism in particular, right? Is huge. I think, like we've always had to struggle to be a part of this community. And when we try to talk about what's happening, I think, the community goes, no, we are gay, we are queer. We don't do that. You don't tell us that this happens, And so I think that still continues today. I also think that in terms of trans folks, in particular, trans feminine folks, Black trans women, right? Like, I think the way how we treat Black, it's so despicable. And in fact, we see how many over the years that have passed away, like we have folks that I've worked with at SOY who were murdered, right? You think about Samaya and others, and so I think we really need to look how we, like the violence that is still continuing among in the queer community. I think the queer community has at large, I think, has not been good to us. And that's why we had to create our own little things. That's why I had to create, like, remember, I used to have like these monthly parties and whatever, like we had to do our own things because the community at large didn't want us, I mean, you were able to go in it a little more because of you doing drag, but I watched the troubles that you've had.
Oh, yes.
Do your things because of who you are. And that still continues today, right? Like that still continues today.
You're so right. It continues till today.
Yeah.
Now, I said this in one of my speeches. It's such a shame. In 2020, we now have done so much for the world at large. We've done everything we could to fit in.
Yeah.
We not only do we sleep with them now interracially, we work with them, we eat with them, we talk with them, and yet we are still 20 years, 40 years, still fighting the same fight.
Same fight.
Now, what do you think about what's happening now with all of just the fact of the pandemic, number one? Now we're into these protests. Now, I'm not going to say whether it's good or bad, because I don't want to get on that side, but I want your point of view because you are a professional. So
well, I could tell you that, and I'm not doing this. I could do it as a professional, but I could also do it as me. I have a side, right?
Okay.
I do have a side, okay? And so my side is, again, this is not the first. That this is how anti-Black racism has been playing out in our communities. We're talking about a system that we live in. I know you're from the States. I am from the Caribbean, right? We came here, right? Our ancestors came here as enslaved people, right?
Yeah.
And this system was designed to violate us in particular ways, and it continues, right? And so for me, I think, for me, I always know that that's a thing. I didn't learn about racism against Black people in Canada. I learned about that in Trinidad and Tobago. And I like to say that all the time because this is not something that is unique to the States or unique to Canada. It's a global phenomenon where we are not seen as human. And so I don't know about you, Stephanie, but for me, that feeling of like not being human, you know, it's mind-blowing to me that people can feel that it's okay to do that to our lives, that, you know, that somehow, you know, we're not human, right? And also more importantly for me is how us as Black folks internalize those messages and somehow believe that as well. So like the stories of, well, you know, you could protest, but it has to be peaceful. I don't understand how protest and peaceful could be in the same sentence, you know. I think, you know, and in Canada here today, it's horrible. We know what it's like when the cops come to us. We know, like, I look at young queer, Black queer folks who come out in the weekends, right? We hear the stories how the cop treated us. I had the cops treated me badly, or if I'm with my partner who may be very masculine presenting, right? I went out with mostly Black folks, right? Like, so how they would treat them, that's a reality. I do think though that there is a little bit of a shift. Something is different, and it's giving me just this ounce of hope, because I think people who wouldn't necessarily listening are listening. And I think the internet, social media has a big part to playing it. And I think that because we have the cameras and we can film, that you can't say, you know, it's not easy. So let's say if he did have a fake $20 bill, which by any chance, by I don't know if you realize that it wasn't fake. So let's say that he did have a $20 fake bill. That doesn't mean he should die. In fact, that doesn't mean that he has to go to jail. Even.
That's true. First of all, what I don't understand is with the clerk. I mean, I don't want to get into the phone, but the clerk could have just said, we can't take this $20 bill and go on about your business.
That's it.
None of this.
Guess what? They knew that if they called, that something bad was going to happen to this person. They knew that. And for me, that's the piece, right? When the woman in the park, right? When she threatened him, you know, like she is saying, I'm going to tell them it's an African-American man, right? And they will come running and will kill him. They know that, right? And so, but I think though, what's the shift is that woman who did that, for example, I think she's the kind who like voted for Obama, would have voted for Obama to the time. For me, the people who say that they are our allies, those are the ones that are being put on the spotlight. And I think that's what, I mean, let me tell you something. Those like the KKK people, we know them. I don't know about you, but I'd be safer. If I know that you're KKK and you telling me, you know, and go home, I get it. I could protect myself. Is the ones who profess to be, well, you know, like the ones who may date us or marry us or want to have us along their thing and we want togetherness. Those are the ones. Those are the ones that I think that's the shift this time. They actually are being checked and they actually have to they're being called on things and they're doing different. So for me, that gives me a little bit of hope.
Oh. Now, you know, what I like mostly about the fact that you work with the youth, the majority of the people taking part in the protest are youth. I thought are youth.
Yeah.
I actually thought that maybe this would fall on deaf ears, because you know, with so many people on their phones and internet, and the only thing they're concerned about is either selfies or hooking up.
Right.
Now, the fact that they took to the streets to protest something that they felt that now they can see for themselves.
Yes.
Now, let's say when you go back to work, and you have to deal with the aftermath of all of this with your youth. How are you going to approach talking to them? Because we can't just let this die. At the end of the day, this still needs to be discussed on and on.
Right.
And young people, we know if you don't keep their attention, they have an attention span of it's gone.
Well, we have already, like at SOY, for example, we are now having online groups. So so we just started having this SOY check-in where they come on Zoom and they'll meet, and you know, we'll have these conversations, and then we have breakout rooms on Zoom. So say if so there'll be a breakout room specifically for Black queer youth who want to come. There'll be one for trans identified and non-binary youth, and there'll be one for youth. The group is called Express, and it's for youth who are newcomers, immigrants, refugees. So we have those breakouts so that we're trying our best, even though it's challenging, because one thing with SOY that we did a kind of a evaluation thing a couple of years ago, and the majority of the youth that access our services are newcomers, refugee, trans identified youth who experiencing homelessness, right? Black queer. So you know, having access to like a proper phone or like a, you know, like a tablet or something, right? That's making it challenging for us to meet online. So we're talking to our manager and actually tell people, if people want to give, you know, like we want tablets, we want telephones, we want, you know, like, so that we're able to.
Well, tell us how we can get a hold of SOY, and who,
so,
if people want to donate, who do they contact? If they want to donate money or they want to donate tablets.
Sherborne Health, if they go to the website of Sherborne Health, there is a donation button that you can just go and you'll get contacted to the person who, like, whatever,
Okay, now just a few more questions of your time.
No problem.
Now, you know, I adore you. I've always adored watching you because you work so hard and you're always smiling and diligent about just getting it done. Yes. Now, what do you see happening with the gay community in Toronto now? I mean, with this pandemic, no jobs. The future of drag is really uncertain.
I know.
The future of people not having any money or a real job, or even the performers and the Black people who are new, like you said, to the community, not having a foothold in the community. There's some I don't know.
I agree. I don't know. You know, like, I don't know. I just so concerned about folks who, especially, you know, drag, you know, like the art of drag is my thing. I mean, I had a love from it for day one. What can I say, right? But that's better. I had love for drag for a long time. And, you know, I know that online they're trying to do things. I hope people, you know, will give money, right, to people. But it's tough. And I mean, I think it's not only drag as well. There's like jobs that we've been doing, you know, like to survive. I think again about the trans feminine community. I think about, you know, like folks who, you know, may do drag, may do sex work, right? May do all of these different things. And now, right, like that's so hard. But I actually see that there are some programs, I think I heard of something from Glad Day that they collecting money and they're giving out to, like, I think drag performers, I think folks who do sex work, I think folks experiencing homelessness. So there's a few things around, right, to support people. But what's gonna happen when, you know, like going into the bar and watching, you know, somebody perform, like, that's just, it's, you can't recreate that online. Like,
now, what advice do you think that you can give to just the general LGBT pronoun community trying to go back to work, trying to get work, trying to just get back to what we think of as normal?
Right. Well, you know what I want to say, Stephanie? I don't think that we can ever go back to normal.
Okay.
Personally, I think we just have to do different, right? And so, because actually normal wasn't all that great for lots of us anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know. I mean, maybe if they've changed, I haven't been going into the bars recently, but I think if we want to talk about drag queens in particular, Toronto is extremely horrible with how they treat art form, don't pay them good, so that, you know, they're not able to recreate and whatever. So for me, like, go back to that, I don't know, because, you know, like, we weren't being very supportive, right? So for me, what can we do? What can we do different, right?
You know, I found something rather strange. I just, with the youth today, now, having something me and you had very little of, the internet.
Right.
We grew up with Bill Gates, Apple and Microsoft, something where they were just starting their business and trying to get it going.
Right.
Now, 20 years up and 20 years back, me, you, and him would be closer to the same age.
Right.
Now, the young people today who access the internet, which is the most powerful tool for them to have, and not be able to understand it enough to make millions of dollars. But yet, Khloe Kardashians and them can just take pictures all day and make millions about dating Black men and taking selfies. Now, what is it that the young children can't figure out?
Well, but I mean, like, I don't know. I cannot believe you put Kardashian in this thing.
I'm sorry. I was just trying to.
I know what you're doing. Okay. But that damn family who just like have to do nothing. Oh, what privilege is a hell of a thing that you could, like, you know, and I mean the money's pimping them out, so like I mean whatever, you know, so no, I don't want that millions, but I have to tell you though, Stephanie, and maybe I'm sounding like, if I'm sounding like I'm supporting the young people, I am, because they are doing things online, right? Especially now, trying to find innovative ways to keep community, to make money. Like, you know, I'm watching folks like having, like, you know, not just a club quarantine thing, but having like online things where, you know, people can donate to the DJ or donate to the performer, or like I saw recently briefly, you know, like the houses, like the House of Monroe and the Pink Lady House and whatever, doing things online and getting people to donate. And so, you know, I mean, I do not go to the house. I don't go to the Vogue stuff, right? Like, I don't go to it, but, you know, so I don't want to, you know, comment on, you know, whether it's good or not, but I can tell you they're making money.
Oh, okay. All right. That's a good thing then. That is a good thing. They'll keep a roof over their head. I tell you all the time, I'm always on the hustle. Even though
I
I live
know.
alone, even though I live alone, I'm on the hustle. Now, do you see positive, like you say, you see some glimmer of hope?
I
Do
hope.
you see the children following through on the protest? Do you think they're learning anything from this?
Yes, well, they started it. They wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
They are doing it,
Mm-hmm.
so so yes, they know what they're doing. I think about when I came here in the 90s, and I was there in the protest that we had for carding outside of the cop shop at college.
Okay.
And I was there in 1990, whatever it was. I was young. I was there. We knew what we were doing. I mean, like the way how people talk about it was like vandalizing and looting. And of course, again, it wasn't even the people who were protesting, it was people coming in to whatever, but that's another story. But like, I think we need to, let me take this opportunity. I have this mentorship program. One of the things that I want is to create an intergenerational conversation. So I've been working really hard to have the opportunity for folks like yourself, and you'll be
Mm-hmm.
hearing from me for it, and young folks to exchange and learn from each other, because I think there is this disconnect, and it's almost like we're making each other suspect, right? Like
Okay.
the young people think, oh, they don't care. They don't think I know what like I don't know what life is. And then the older ones thinking, yeah, you don't understand the things that I've done. I've done all of these things to make
Mm-hmm.
you whatever, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I want to be able to do that. So there's a program actually in the mentorship program called Melanin Links, and it's
Okay.
actually for Black folks and communities. So
Mm-hmm.
we're actually in the process of trying to have something on the 22nd of June where we're trying to get people together, right?
Okay.
And we're going to try to see, at least online, how to have intergenerational conversations, because I think that's important.
Okay.
I know I'm scoring,
Oh.
so I want other people to score.
Now, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time
Yeah.
here, but I just want to talk just 2 or 3 more questions, and then
No problem.
we'll wrap it up. You've been amazing and very
Thank you.
educational. Now, with the young Black queer group,
Right.
and such groups and things that they probably might not have attended, but they heard of,
Right.
such things as the Pride Committee and the events that predominantly are promoted towards the Black community, but everyone is welcome, such as Blocko,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
Blackness, yes, and these
Mm-hmm.
different groups. Now that we're not going to have Pride this year,
Mm-hmm.
and the young people are young and eager,
Mm-hmm.
now how is it that what's your advice? What do you think the young kids should do? Because you have to think about this, they're going to be off school soon. I mean, they probably haven't even been in school, so now they're going to be off longer than usual, and kids with idle hands do bad. Well, not all of them, but
Yeah.
they're concerning in some way or another, like we all are at times. But what do you think they should do now that they're going to have all this downtime, and they're not going to have that celebration that a lot of them would have taken part in for the first time?
Well, can I say, I think that Pride Toronto does not cater to young people.
Okay.
So for me, we do a horrible job of it.
Okay.
We do a horrible job of it.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here going, yeah, as somebody who works in a youth program, we have a little stage for 3 hours for youth,
Mm-hmm.
way far somewhere. On the Sunday, there's nothing. On the Saturday, there's no all-day programming for young
Mm-hmm.
people. The way how Pride is now is just catered to just adults, and especially, quite frankly, white queer folks, cis guys, Like, you know, like there's
Mhm.
nothing, so it's not actually, to be honest, a safer space. So let me just say, you know, I'm really sorry in this pandemic. I don't want to get COVID. I really don't, right? I'm working
Mhm.
from home. I'm very lucky to work from home. But I want to say that this also, when I look at the good of things, like this is an opportunity for us to regroup. Like, how can we bring back community to Toronto Pride? Listen, Stephanie, like
Mhm.
you all, like, especially when I look at drag, the drag culture and drag queens doing their thing, right? These are the folks like who have had us creating community. I don't know about you, but try
Mhm.
Toronto. I mean, yes, you'll get your little gigs every year, but you remember the days when you all were centered, when you
Mhm.
all would just take over the stage, like not even, you know, Blocko has enough drag performances and stuff anymore, you know, like, so for me, it's not about community. So, in other words, am I going to miss it this year? No. Like,
You know, I am
I good.
glad. Yeah, I am glad that we had this discussion today.
Yes.
Me and you could talk forever.
Yes.
I like the fact that you're working with the youth, and you're giving people like me who 9 times out of 10 don't have too much time for children.
Right.
Even though I had a few on my show and they engaged me a lot
Yeah.
on social media, and I'm sort of in tune with the RuPaul Drag Race thing. I'm not deaf, it's not deaf to my ears.
Right.
So I'm open to giving the children a chance to be who they are, to
Yes.
help create themselves, help make things better for the community.
Yes.
Now, and I'm grateful that me and you are still here pushing
Yep.
and
Still pushing
helping,
it.
supporting, and
Yes.
just being there, even though they have beat us up in this community for years. And we know, and you know, and I know that this community was built on the back,
Yes.
all of us,
Yes.
and the forefront, the drag queens.
Yes. And let me just say, the Black drag queens.
There you
I'm
go.
not mincing. I'm not mincing. I don't have
Okay.
time to make nice. That's the reality, right? You
Yeah.
know, when I think of like you, I think about Chris. I think about uh, 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 uh,
Michelle.
Michelle. I think about Duchess.
Duchess.
I think about like this is what like you know like when you all were wrong, this totally shifted drag, right?
Mhm.
And you know, and despite how you all were treated,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
I'm not paid properly because of you all keeping culture alive, keeping the queer culture alive, right?
Mhm.
And like and getting like pittance. Like this is
Yeah.
just like let's
They
let's
got
let's
they,
be
this
real.
this community got rich off the black drag queens,
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Right? And
and
we
the,
don't hear about that, right? And so great. So am I gonna miss Pride this year? No.
no. Now, in closing, Berlia, um, now you know in America,
Yeah.
the LGBT pronoun community is not afraid to be black owned and operated. And they're not ashamed to put that in the window. I see a lot of that in Chicago. Now,
Okay.
why is it that Toronto never had
Toronto.
their own gay space for black, not just black people, just owned and operated by this establishment is gay owned and operated. But
Well, I think um, you know, we may all be black, right? But we're
mhm,
all coming from these different points of entry, right? Like,
okay,
I am a black person from Trinidad and Tobago. And there
mhm,
is differences, like from Jamaica, from the States, who are like from, Halifax. So like,
mhm,
so, and the way And the way how the States is, at least my understanding, married to one now, right? Like that, and the way the way the States is that if I'm a Black person and I'm living in the States, right, then they have this melting pot where like then I just become African American. That's how I'm seen, and my Caribbeanness is not right because I'm melting into being an African American, which I mean is fine, it's Black, I'm good, right? But here in Canada, we have multiculturalism, and where one person would say that is great, I think there's a lot of critiques for it, because then what it does is that, you know, we have all these separate things, but it's hard for us to connect, you know? For somebody who has tried over the years to have Black things, like, remember, I used to run a lot of monthly parties all over the city with like big bread and stuff. And, you know, and it wouldn't last for all kind of reasons. One, you know, if we want Black folks to come, we have to recognize there's a bunch of us in our communities that would not be able to afford, right, to pay to come in. And you have to remember, when they see us, when we go to these bars or whatever to have our Black events, they want to tell us then, you know, we have to make $10,000 at the bar for you to do this thing, and those things are hard, and we know that, you know, people will come and may not be able to buy at the bar, so they will drink before, because, you know, come and have a good time, and so things get this, and it all is under this guise of anti-Black racism that makes it really hard. And then, you know, we fight. Sometimes it's hard, you know, like if, you know, it's hard for us to like each other, right? But that's anti-Black racism again, divide and rule, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, I don't know, like it's hard for us to own places. It's hard for us to get a space,
You know, for me, in closing,
yes,
I just want to say it was a real honor talking to you. I haven't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, I know.
I'm good. It's good to see you. Just to let you know, I'm doing well. Things are going great. A lot of good things happen for me.
I'm so happy for you.
Out of, you know, misery. But I'm blessed.
And you're looking good.
Oh, thank you. And I just want to say is, you've always been a friend, and you've always been nice to me. So I just want to say thank you for all that you do for the youth,
so
and especially for just us in general, keeping it straight, keeping it just straight, and I like that.
Keep things straight. I don't know. No? We're not.
Well, you know what I mean. Keeping the word straight. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. So
because we're very bendy.
Yeah. Now, in closing, I just want to say, now, how do we get a hold of you? Now, what is it that the Sherburne Health Center needs, and what is it for soy? What is it?
So what I would suggest is that you go to SherburnHealth.org, I think. Like, go to Sherburne Health on the website, and there's a donate button. So they will tell you how to donate, what programs, but if you go to soy, then people would be able to donate to soy. And they can actually be specific as well, right? Like, you could say, like, we want to donate money to the mentorship program. We want to donate money to BQY, Black Queer Youth, or Express, or, you know, TFC. Like, so you can, but you just have to go on the website.
Okay, thank you, Verlia.
Thank you. Oh my God, lots of love.
Thank you for all that you do.
And thank you for continuing to do all that you do, because you always, you know, the thing that's wonderful about you is that, you have your hustle, you know, the hustle, but it's always centered with community. It always is. And I appreciate you and thank you. And I'm going to use you in my mentorship program to come and talk to people.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Verlia.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Ladies and gentlemen, today I had on my show Miss Verlia Stevens from Soy. So thank you guys so much, and have a great weekend, everybody.